Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is a video with a difference for my usual subscribers, because I'm mostly talking about, well, I usually talk about reborn dolls, don't I? But I just wanted to bring you these two beautiful girls that I've been just absolutely falling in love with so much. They are new dolls, whereas I mostly collect, well, so up to date, I've mostly collected vintage dolls and a few antique dolls, you know, dolls from my childhood, which unfortunately they're classified as vintage now, like me, I think. But I did discover this type of doll on YouTube. I started to see these gorgeous dolls called smart dolls. They are considered ball jointed dolls, and they're made of vinyl. So partly one of the things that drew me to them is the vinyl, because I'm used to working with vinyl, being a reborn doll artist for 10 years. So I'm quite used to handling vinyl. And I think most ball jointed dolls are made of resin, from what I can see. I don't really know very much about ball jointed dolls, but these two, I was going to say guys, these two girls are made of vinyl, and they're made in Japan by a company called Culture Japan, which is owned by Choo. Now, if that name sounds familiar to you, it's because his dad is Jimmy Choo, who's a fashion designer. I think he started off in shoes. Actually, I only knew him as being a shoe designer, but apparently he's into perfumes and things now, and so there could be all sorts of things. But Danny is his son, and this is Danny's company. They manufacture, well, when I say manufacture, let me just say they make these dolls and they're handmade. They don't come from an assembly line. Every detail is done by hand, from the casting, of course, and then the painting, everything, the wig making, the clothes making, everything's actually done in Japan. For a while, I think Danny had one type of wig made in, where was it? I think it was in the Philippines, from Australian mohair, but he doesn't do that anymore. Every single thing is made in Japan, and just the attention to detail is beautiful, and the individuality of each piece, of course, is individual. And there's just something about, you know, a doll that is made by hand that is so different to a factory made doll. So these dolls are jointed. They're jointed at the neck and the shoulders, as you can probably see, and at the hips, elbows, wrists and ankles. So they're very posable. They also, under their bust line, they can go sideways and back and forth. So that's extra movement there. And they're just amazing dolls that you can change the wigs, you can change the eyes, and obviously you can change the position and their clothes. And that's partly why I love them. I love them because of the look and the feel of them. They're very tall girls. They're 60 centimetres, which is around 23 or 24 inches. And the reason I'm zoomed into their faces is because I can't get them, when I've got them both fully in the frame of the camera, they look a million miles away, and it's very disappointing. So this is how I decided to film them. I'll try and add some pictures at the end so you can see the whole of them, what they look like. They're sitting on a couple of chairs at the moment, so they're not as tall when they're sitting down, obviously, but they're still big girls, really, really tall girls, and gorgeous. So let me just tell you, I did discover them through watching YouTube, because I do watch all sorts of doll channels, not just reborn dolls. And I found them, and then I started investigating Culture Japan and Danny Choo and smart dolls, and just found out everything I could about them. And I was hooked, completely hooked. And I think it happens to lots of people with these dolls. So I fell in love with the one on the left with the dark hair. Her sculpt is called, oh, isn't that ridiculous? Kanata. And that was the one I decided would be my first smart doll. But I had to save up the money and save up the money and save up the money. And while I saved my money, all the versions of her sold out. So there was a version of her in a skin tone called Tea, which is darker than her skin tone at the moment. The skin tone on this one is called Cinnamon. So it actually Danny used to have milk, cinnamon, tea and cocoa. Cocoa's a beautiful dark, beautiful dark skin tone. Tea is darker than cinnamon and cinnamon is darker than milk. The girl on the right is milk. Her sculpt is called Serenity and she's in the milk vinyl, but that's not being made at the moment. I'm not sure if they're going to start making it again. Anyway, back to the drawing board. What I was saying was Kanata was the one I fell in love with, and I really fancied the one in tea skin, but while I was saving she sold out and she wasn't going to be produced anymore. But there were still two different versions of Kanata. There was still the milk Kanata and then the Kanata alternate, which had a slightly different mouth to this one. So I kept saving, but guess what happened? They both sold out. So I emailed Danny and said would he be doing any more Kanatas, and he said he would, and it would take about a month. So I sort of thought, okay, whatever, it doesn't matter, it gives me more time to save up, which is what I did. And in the meantime, of course, I just badly wanted one. So once I'd saved up enough, I bought Serenity. She is she's got a little smile just at the corners of her mouth, and I've called her Emiko, which means smiling child in Japanese. So I bought her and waited for Kanata. Lots of other dolls came out in the meantime, and I just waited and saved some more, and then finally Danny released her again, and so that's how I got her. So now I have 2 smart dolls, and of course I want more smart dolls. It's very addictive. I'm just warning anybody who's thinking of buying a smart doll that it's very addictive. Now Danny sort of has different face molds that he uses and different styles of dolls, because these are anime, which I didn't even think about. I just fell in love with them, whatever they were. So they're anime style, but he does another anime style with dolls with bigger eyes, and Mirai was the first doll he made, and he made her from a character that had been in movies. I think he made a movie of Mirai, and she was also a symbol of Japan for a while, like for tourists and things, a cartoon character, and he turned Mirai into a doll, and that's really how why he started the company, because Mirai is super popular. And you may have seen Holly Church's video. She bought a Mirai. She's always loved Mirai, she told me. And when I showed her my new smart doll, and I told her about smart dolls, she said she had to get a Mirai. So I was so excited when she said that, because to have a friend who has a smart doll is just fabulous. So we exchange pictures and stories about our girls, and our girls talk to each other. Of course they do. That's what these dolls do. So it's really fun knowing someone who's got a friend who's got a smart doll. There are so many people out there with smart dolls, and amazingly 80% apparently are with children, are bought for children, which just blows my mind slightly, but that's apparently the case, especially the big-eyed ones. They're bought for the children. More recently, Danny's brought out a different face mold, and it's called semi-real, and it's different, like it's a narrower face. I think the eyes are a bit smaller, and the nose is slightly different. The bodies are all the same, which is brilliant for dressing, of course, so they can just share all their clothes. And occasionally he brings out a boy doll. They're very sought after because they just don't get produced very often. I guess they're not as popular as the girls because it's a lot to do with the fashion that you buy for them. Now, what else can I tell you? When I stop, that's when my brain stops. I should have just kept blah, 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 shouldn't I? But anyway, so these are the 2 girls, and I now have my eye on 2 semi-real girls. I'd like to get one in the tea skin tone and one in the cocoa skin tone, and then one day I'd like to get a boy. So that's 3 more dolls at least. Oh, well, no, probably that would be enough for me, 3 more dolls. And then I would have one of each skin tone. One of the reasons I did buy Serenity while I was waiting for Kanata was because I knew that the milk skin tone was being phased out, and I thought, well, I would really like an example of her, and I love her face. So I bought her and then saved like mad again until Kanata was re-released. So I will be able to have one of each skin tone, and except blue, because he's been developing he calls it interstellar blue, so a line of dolls made of blue vinyl. They're going to be released soon. They're stunning dolls. He has different sorts of ideas all the time. He's just always developing new thoughts about what he can produce next, and he's made one called Prophecy, who has like an eye in the middle of her forehead, so she's got 3 eyes. And there's a centaur, which is the body of a girl, and then the legs and body of a horse. But sorry, I just got the battery warning sign that it's running out of juice, so that distracted me a bit. So yeah, so Danny's very, very creative, and just if you're ever interested in smart dolls, just have a look at his website, read everything that's there, have a look through, do your research before you plunge, and make sure that you would love one of these. I did, and I felt very confident because I'm so used to handling vinyl. But Danny gives all sorts of warnings about how to handle them, and it sounds a bit scary when he does that. But really, they're so sturdy and just wonderful to deal with. You can buy clothes on Danny's site. You can buy clothes from a million different sellers. Lots and lots of people are in their houses making outfits for smart dolls. So that's what I do. I buy all sorts of different things for them, and wigs. I've got a fair few wigs. Shoes are a bit harder to get, but at the moment they're both wearing sneakers. Not that you can tell that. What I'll do, I'll definitely take pictures and put them at the end of the video. But I better go. I've rambled on enough, I think, to tell you about my girls. I know I didn't tell you what I've called Kanata. Her name is Atsuko, which means kind child. She's a serious girl. She hasn't got a little smile on her face. She's quite a serious girl, but she's a very kind child. So I've got a kind child and a smiling child, and I love them so much. So I'll call it quits now before I talk your ears off like I normally do, and thank you so much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed learning a little bit about these girls. If you're interested, just please go and have a look at the Smart Doll website, because Danny's got explanations of everything there. Read everything you can if you want to get one, so that you're familiar with them. But really, truly, they are very sturdy, and I haven't had any trouble. And in case you don't know me, I only have the use of my right hand, which makes things extremely difficult, but it's still manageable, and I haven't been in danger of breaking anything, let's put it that way. So I reckon if you've got 2 good hands, you can use them, and you'll manage perfectly well and love these dolls. I hope you will anyway. So anyway, that's the end of my little ramble about nothing. I hope you've loved seeing these girls, and just watch out for the photos at the end. Thank you everyone for being here. See you again soon. Bye bye.